Hello, hello. Welcome to Rebel Ants Radio. This is the video podcast. It's sort of like our built-in public project for the Rebel Ants NFT. Joined tonight, as always, by my co-host, co-partner, co-pilot, Miguel. Miguel, how are you tonight?
I'm good, man. Looking forward to today. I'm a bit tired. I didn't take my espresso shot today, but I'm good. I'll survive.
Yeah. You've been yawning a little too much, so our audience deserves better than that. We have 7 people watching right now, so thank you for tuning in with us. Feel free to drop a comment, say hi, and while you're typing your comment, just drag that mouse up to the like button, smash it, and then subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Listen, Miguel, I don't want to brag, but I changed 2 light switches in my house tonight, and I feel like a man. All right, it's been a good day.
Did you turn off the power before you switched them, or was that like a superficial switch?
No. I turned off the power. I watched some YouTube videos to make sure I didn't die, and mission accomplished. So I'm on a high right now. Okay, I don't know if you can feel that energy coming through.
How many YouTube videos did you watch before you switched it?
3 videos.
That's not that bad. All right.
Yeah, and then after I changed the second one, my wife's like, "Oh, you put the dimmer switch in?" I said, "Nope, I didn't know I was doing that." So we're gonna go back and redo that one.
Wait, so you didn't switch it?
I switched just other on-off switches, but now, I got to get the dimmer. So, next weekend I'll come brag about that one. All right, let's go through some of our important announcements at the top of the show. Thank you so much again for being here. We invite you to head over to rebelants.io, where you can mint your very own Rebel Ant NFT for 0.01 ETH. And what is that, like $18 right now, $17? If you're here and you're watching, we do all this free content for you guys. Throw us a little love, mint an ant, no big deal. And then while you're there, you can head over to rebelants.io/shop, pick up some gear, and we are so close to launching our own shop where we are controlling the merch and making everything ourselves. So the design is almost done. We're just finishing up some of the product pictures, and we are excited to share that once that's done. And just a reminder that at some point tonight, we're going to interrupt the show, drop our secret code, so that you can head over to rebelants.io/proof, drop the code in there, and then you will get a chance to earn a Rebel Ant free airdrop to you if you're one of the first 3 to do that. So stay tuned. All right. Not going to tell you when it's coming, but it's coming.
I'm going to try not to yawn for the rest of the show. Okay.
Yeah. I hope not.
Try.
For every time you yawn, we're going to increase that count of 3 Rebel Ants for every additional yawn that you do. So control yourself. All right.
I'll pay the gas fee. Cool.
All right. You've been doing some drawing this week. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I did a couple more Jeremys. Today, I actually worked on a merch store this morning a little bit. I think there was an issue with some of the backgrounds. So yeah, we had to switch a couple of colors just so that it pops a little more on the website. So that's still in the works, but we have a plan. So good stuff.
Yeah, we do. Well, listen, tonight we have a very special guest on. We have c4nopener from the Bunnies NFT project. As you know, this was like the first NFT that I ever bought, and we've been asking these guys for a few months to come on the show. So I'm excited to welcome c4nopener on. Miguel, you ready?
Ready.
All right. Can, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good.
Welcome.
GM from here. Evening over there. Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, I love that the NFT world lets us talk to people around the world. I don't know if it's halfway around the world, but it's around the world. So
far
it's
enough.
Cool. Yeah,
very far away.
Yeah. So yeah, I messaged your brother, your co-founder or one of your co-founders, back in December when you were getting the mugs arranged for some of your holders with my bunny on it. So I messaged him back in December and said, hey, it'd be really cool to get you guys on the show since I've, been a holder for so long. It'd be cool to kind of talk to you guys. And just a few months later, here we are. So thank you so much for your time. You guys are crazy busy and we're going to dig into all that. But before we do, I want to start with our icebreaker question, and our viewers are invited to answer as well. So Miguel, I'm going to throw it over to you. What is a place that you want to vacation that you've never been before?
Oof. Bali.
Oh, interesting.
Why
Bali? Why that? Or there?
It's beautiful. Have you seen the pictures on Instagram?
Not on Instagram. Other places, yeah.
No, Bali's a beautiful country. I think I really want to see it. I mean, I've traveled a lot around the world, so I've never been there, so that's my to-do list.
Yeah, perfect. Well, quit bragging about how much you travel while the rest of us, just work all day. Okay. All right, Can, where do you want to go that you've never been before?
Yeah, look, Bali is. I'm not saying Bali. I'm just saying Bali's just north of Australia, so it's the holiday destination for like a ton of people. So I've been there, and it's beautiful. Look, I'd love to do India. I don't know if I could compete with B-Dub, other co-founder of Bad Bunnies. He went there and randomly ended up in some guy's wedding with 2,000 people at the floating palace that's Octopussy in the Octopussy's lair in the James Bond film. And was like all of a sudden best mates with the bridegroom and this amazing experience. And ever since he talked about that, I was like, that sounds good, but somehow I'm sure it wouldn't live up to it.
That is funny.
Yeah, that's really fun. That tells us a lot about the kind of guy he is. Just
No, like it was like, yep, that sounds about right. Yeah. Oh, and also, sorry, he ended up in the same trip. Like I think that's how he got invited to the wedding. He just randomly was walking by while they were filming Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh, great movie.
Oh, wow.
They said, "Oh, do you want to be an extra?" And he said, "Yep." So he's an extra in Slumdog Millionaire.
Damn.
Then met this bridegroom. Next week he's at the wedding. Whatever. Like,
it's just a great trip right there.
Yeah. So yeah,
great experience.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get him on another show and hear some about that.
Wait, I want to go on a trip with him.
Yeah, the whole episode would just be the icebreaker.
That's funny.
All right, Cam, before I start asking about Bad Bunnies, why don't you tell us how did you and your brother and your friend get into crypto and then NFTs to begin with? What's the history there?
Look, it's a funny one, isn't it? When you kind of look back on journeys and whatever. I had mates that were in crypto and was working with some of them at, I guess, the onset of the last serious bear market before this one. So at work, all they would talk about was the price of Bitcoin.
Yep.
And I was like, what are you? And then it'd all be, did you see it today? Because it had just fallen off a cliff. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, what's that about? And then I was on TikTok, and someone there who I still follow did a video on the crypto funks. The crypto punks that had just flipped the other way. And it just seemed like a bit of a punk move at the time. Like I think crypto punks were just starting to do, a couple $100,000 per crypto punk. And I was like I'm not entirely up for the whole, let's just kind of take someone else's project.
Yeah.
Necessarily. There's positions that work. And this was one of them, I thought. And so I went, okay, I'll check that out. And then so called that mate and said, how do I get some crypto? How do I get some ETH to buy these? And it was a really cool minting experience. And they had a really good kind of, I think it was like a grid of 9, like a kind of, randomized flicking through. And you're like, am I going to get that one?
Yeah.
And you got that one. And so I minted a bunch of those. And like I tell you, made a ton on, it was the weirdest experience. So in this WhatsApp group with this friend and a bunch of other friends, they were kind of picking up crypto here and there. And there's me going, so there's these NFT things.
Yeah.
And I just made this on this one and this on this one. And they're like, what are you talking about? And weirdly, none of them, even with that, even with me kind of going, look, right now in OpenSea secondary, you could pick one up for this. I think it's going to continue to have legs. You should get it. No one got any.
Of course.
At all.
You're the crazy guy in the group, right?
And now they're probably, they've had, their highs and lows and whatever. Yeah, anyway, so it was that kind of thing. And then really kind of interesting stuff in, started getting to some 1-1 artists, and me with my measly Twitter following, because like do most of working with the other kind of marketing partner on Twitter, the Bad Bunnies Twitter. We take turns.
Right.
Like if I've got something to say, I just log in and say it, and the other marketer does their job usually. Yeah, on mine, like I totally pumped this guy, Liverboy, which fantastic artist. And when I say totally pumped, it just means I started to say, this is great. And other people started to go, yeah. And so that became a really kind of cool little community too. And I was like, well, this is a really cool space, you know, and yeah, that's how it started. So then it just becomes a hop, skip to calling up Pooply and saying, we can do this. Like, let's do it.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the kind of genesis of it.
That's cool. I recently was in a conversation with some of my friends from my hometown, and one of them sent a screenshot of an email I must have sent years ago where it said, "Hey guys, Bitcoin is still only $8,000. Like you can still get in now before it's too late." And they're like, "Oh, we really should have listened to you." It's like,
just,
yeah,
you know,
there's always that friend, right?
It is just hilarious. Anyway,
that's okay.
You can only do what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah,
like
true.
it's what, like I'm talking AUD here, because if I'm looking at exchanges AUD, is it like, because AUD, I guess Australian dollars, Bitcoin's 42,000, which is your 28,
somewhere around 27 right now.
Yeah,
right?
27, 28, yeah.
But yeah, not that long ago it was 25 Australian. Like 3 weeks ago or something, and you kind of like your brain starts to go, 42 is like almost double 25.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, I don't know. Like, so now I'm picking up some Bitcoin at 42 when, you know, like a few weeks ago it could have been 25, but you know, you can't let that stop you.
Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead, Miguel.
I remember sitting with a couple of friends years ago when I first heard about Bitcoin and I got into it. And I remember telling them at a bar somewhere, I'm like, guys, like you really need to get into this. And everybody called me crazy at the time. And I think Bitcoin was like $6 or $3 or something like that. And till this day, they're like, Jesus, we should have just listened to you when you said that we needed to get in.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, how it happens.
Or, you know, or something happens all of a sudden where in 6 months, Bitcoin zero because it's been outlawed everywhere, and you know, you know, it's all who the hell knows. But that's what's interesting about the space at the moment is that, you know, like it's everything fluctuates because the world's working out what these cryptocurrencies are going to be, like who are going to win and who are going to lose. So until that's decided, it's speculative and it'll go up and down. So.
Yeah, I just think it's the uncertainty of like what it is and the anonymity. You know, when you during the holidays, when you talk to your family about what Bitcoin is, they still look at you like, what is that? It's totally crazy. We don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it hasn't penetrated much beyond like whatever it was 3 years ago or something, that the last bear market where I was looking at my mate and going, I don't know what you're talking. What are you talking about? But in that time, you know, no one who's not in this space is into it. So like no family members of mine or like extended family, whatever, are suddenly into it in that 3 years. So yeah, funny one.
Yeah, for sure. I try to like gift them gift cards of Bitcoin just so that like small, you know, like $10-15 here, just so they can get their feet wet, kind of educate them on it.
Well, I mean, there was also, I'm sure Kevin will want to move on in a second, but yeah, it's interesting too. Recently, someone in the know, I mean, it can all be BS, but someone in the know saying, you know, Bitcoin will go to 1 million soon.
Yeah, Balaji, right? That was his
bet. Yeah.
90 days. 90 days is like, okay.
I don't think 90 days, but I mean, it is interesting, that thing of recent collapse of SVP and whatever. And that, because you know what, just for your guys' information, when I was, what age was I back then? Barely born. Our Prime Minister at the time said, banks, if you let them get away with it, they'll do everything they can. So Australia has incredibly strong regulations, and it's what SVB did. You cannot, a bank cannot physically do that here. It's just
interesting.
Cannot happen. It's not even just there's a law and they could circumvent it. It's actually impossible to do. But from this perspective, seeing you guys in the States, all of a sudden cryptocurrency looks stable compared to
That's true.
Some of the shenanigans that happen in banking. So interesting.
Yeah. So those early NFT projects that you were getting into, I'm curious, how did those kind of shape where you guys took your project? Did you see aspects of community or engagement that you're like, okay, I like that, or we can do that better? How did you kind of build up your own strategy there?
Yeah, look, all the kind of three-prong strategy was that I was late enough and early enough. So late enough to have missed the Cool Cats mint by maybe by a couple of weeks. So
right.
I guess if we look back at the timeline, CryptoFunks may have been maybe a month after Cool Cats or a couple of weeks or something. But I do kind of recall seeing, however the timeline works. However it works, they launched the mint and didn't sell out. And they were at 0.05 or something for minting. And then they halved the price and sold out in a day, right? So that's what we did as well. So we set the price at 0.055 on the first day. So B-Dub, the other co-founder, said, look, we've probably done 180 sales or something. And I just said to him and the other smart contract developer, what's it going to take to halve the price? And they said, look, we'll probably need about 12 hours to turn things around and get up and whatever. And so we did that. And then I was in bed at midnight and got a call from B-Dub saying we're about to sell out.
Crazy.
Wow.
Wake up, because if you and Pooply want to choose your special bunny within it, I need to send that number to the end of the line, and we'll just turn off mint when it gets to those last three numbers.
Wow.
So I chose my Yakuza steak toaster head.
Nice.
Which I think is actually, so it's actually, I think, number 5,000 or 5,499 or
oh wow, it is. That's cool.
And so that was knowing that was always in your back pocket, haven't sold out. Okay, halve the price and it creates buzz. And then the other thing too was just confidence in the art, whether it's misplaced confidence. You can kind of have confidence and it's misplaced, right? Confidence isn't a strategy.
A little biased too if it's your own project.
No, but I was look, you look around and you go, there's all these projects, ours looks great. So I think also when we, on launch night, we only really probably had 300 Discord members, which is then active is a tiny portion.
Right.
And then the other thing is just knowing as well that Cool Cats had 400 members on launch night, right? So it's so then we had fudders coming in all the time, horrible statements like, you guys aren't going to make it. What do you think you're doing? You've got 100 Discord members and 500 Twitter followers. And I was like, yeah, whatever, mate. We're confident. And the way you kind of move through with confidence is just to keep posting the art and saying, here it is. It looks good. It's worthwhile picking one up. And then the other thing, I was in a Discord channel on the Ghosts server, the artist Gang Yang. They had a channel in there with a lot of alpha kind of thing. And I just gotten to know, some cool people in that space. that is still kind of, online friends today.
Yeah.
And that was just like that period of being in that server was just, formative in that you go, oh, okay, I get what you guys are doing. They're just, they're just buying and selling. Like it was just getting an insight into what that mindset is. Like, what does that particular type of person want to see, and becoming one of them along with them.
Right.
Yeah. And that was just really kind of, I think we wouldn't have done as well if I hadn't schooled myself from those discussions kind of thing. So yeah, really kind of interesting period in time.
That's pretty cool.
Those alpha groups are key, huh?
Yeah. But it was a pretty chilled, like it wasn't like, you have to be, I don't know. Like, I don't know what other alpha groups are, but all it was that I liked the artist Gang Yang and had some of his smaller pieces. And I was like, oh, what's this channel in his Discord? Oh, yeah, okay, a bunch of people talking about stuff. Okay, cool. And then just go, oh, this is really interesting. So, yeah, so it's just kind of that kind of thing.
What made you guys pick the art? Like choose bunnies, basically?
It's interesting. So funny. There's kind of two memories in time and place kind of thing for me is that, and they may have even actually could have actually been 5 minutes apart too, in that I remember I live in a 2-story house. I remember walking up the stairs and like I reckon I could even like say maybe the 4th step, and I went Bad Bunnies, which is not a huge leap to like, there's every man and his dog, cool cats to sappy seals to whatever. So it's not a huge creative link to go BB whatever. But I kind of went, no, look, that's good, because also, that's probably in our vibe as well, bad and like, having a bit of an edge. And then the other is just on the balcony, just there, calling Pooply, who had no idea about NFT, like, because it was so early. Like, yeah, just going, okay, so there's these NFT things, and him going, yeah, the end of the call was really, look, I'm thinking Bad Bunnies, and I'll send you a bunch of links, and let's get started. And to his credit, it was really just. Yep. Okay. Well, I don't know, and let's think about it. It's like, yeah, okay, let's start. And then I did a bunch of sketches. I've still got the sketchbook as well.
That's cool.
A bunch of sketches of faces and some traits and whatever. And then he just, ran with it. And from that phone call to launch night was like almost exactly 8 weeks kind of thing.
Wow, that's fast.
But it was hardcore. Like it was never like my wife was just like. Because it was like hard to like really say what we were doing. Because like, what do you say? Like,
yeah,
like at that time too, which is early. Like, so babe, I've got this thing and it's something like I don't know what the hell do you say. So it was kind of actually on the down low, really, because like, there was no. The super cool thing about this space, which continues to be the case, is what is possible without. Because like I come from a product design and development background, if you go, I want to create an app, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like,
right.
Whereas this is like the most basic of landing page, some money on the smart contract, but then the rest was just mine and Pooply's time.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't like I had to say to my wife, here's this plan. And I'm going to have to use some of our money to do it. It was just kind of, I'm probably just better off telling her when we get near what we're doing. So by that time, it was just, us having to have like phone conversations for hours.
Right.
And my wife going, what? Because, B-Dub, we've known each other since we were 5. And so she can hear B-Dub, she can hear Pooply. And she's like, what are you 3 talking about? Like, you're so loud. Keep it down. And eventually kind of say, well, look, we're launching this thing tomorrow. And I'm probably going to be, because I got 2 kids, like, I'm probably going to be incommunicado, like, you know, I'm not going to have any time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
That's cool.
That's funny. That's a great story, though.
Yeah. Like, and then the next few days, just insanity. Just insanity. You just can't even kind of process all of the Discord messages and all of the Twitter messages. You just go like, you know, and you know, it only lasts a short period, that insanity. But yeah, it's tough and great at the same time.
I'm curious to know how long it took you guys to build hype until you guys did the launch.
But it was like, so we had some luck in the background of things. Was really just the art is great, the idea is great compared to everything else. We should do well, so we didn't go nuts. We you know, other projects just have a better idea of how to use influencers and to do all that stuff, and that becomes, you know, the kind of sole approach of theirs kind of thing, which works and does. It creates great community because you get lots of people in, and at the heart we're builders, right? So but there was like one, like, I wouldn't even say you call them an influencer, because they were a solid voice, but we're talking like 15,000 followers kind of thing. So
yeah,
but they were just a solid voice in the community. And so having a chat with him, saying, hey, can we do some giveaways through you? And he had an approach of, I don't do giveaways for anyone, and if you do, it says sponsored. You know, and like someone with ethics, you know, and therefore their credibility flowed from that. So we did that, and you know, we did, like, leading up to launch, like a giveaway a day, I suppose, because we also posted the results the next day instead of, you know, giveaways on Twitter. I'm giving away a Bored Ape, and everyone just like likes and retweets and never checks back to see if anyone won.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true.
Know, this space, mate, is like... So yeah, we really just did that, and then one member, one of our very, very few members, followed Crypto Frog on YouTube. I'm not sure what he's up to these days, but I messaged him, and he was kind of like, he said, you guys aren't going to make it. Like, he just went, I just looked at your Discord, looked at your Twitter, and I was like, yeah, well, you know, whatever, man. But like, we think we are, you know, I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff for you to look at. If you think it's good, have us on your show. Yeah, and we had, you know, we got a good influx from that. And then that was kind of probably about it. The rest was just word of mouth, really.
That's pretty cool.
And so you said you did start minting in September of 2021 at 0.05. I bought mine October 18th.
Yeah, right.
You know, so like a month later, and I got it for 0.3, which at the time, 0.3 didn't even seem like what it feels like now. So how did you go from 0.05 minting to 0.3 as not even the floor? Because I didn't, as around the floor as 0.3.
Yeah.
That's a huge increase.
We reached 0.4 floor at one point. And so, I mean, probably like a couple, like that was just because, you know, when we had everyone in, everyone went, the art's sick, like, and you guys are credible, good people. We had good vibes in the community. And look, I mean, I think this is probably like a good thing to be talking about now, is that if you're not knowledgeable enough or haven't experienced it, the sudden emergence of a bear market, you know, we just kind of go, what the hell is happening here? But that was also like preceded by the insanity of gas. Like it was just like, what the hell? Like one day it was like $600.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Not that you do anything on that, but
yeah,
people were. So like we like I said, we didn't go to influencers and say, here's a chunk of money for you to shill us. Which, you know, you can do. Like, if you got enough money, you can get anyone to do anything. But we just didn't want to do that. And also, you know, Cool Cats had a good mindset, and they're lovely people, and were really helpful to us in the beginning.
Nice.
Like Extreme Tom looked over our smart contract before launch. Like, just, I didn't know him. Like, I just hit him up and said, the stuff that you tweet about, it seems to be, you know, really insightful and whatever. And he said, oh, look, if you change this to this, you'll save on gas. If you change this to this. But they also had a no shill kind of policy. And we just thought that was credible and ethical. So it's like, it's just a kind of weird space to be in. But we kind of followed their idea of things, and as a result, we had what you would call a lot of minnows, right? Like, lots of people who had missed, say, Cool Cats had missed this project, and they were all mooning and can't get into it. And so a lot of people that went, oh, well, look, you know, this looks credible, looks good, I'll get into this. But what happens when $600 gas, $400, $300 gas comes along? How does your floor behave? Like, you can't move anywhere but down because the base you've cultivated. So people can kind of, you know, the same confidence that we had previously is still running through in that, you know, people right now can kind of go, yeah, well, you know, FUD, whatever. But, you know, the reality of things is look, you can always drop the ball a bit. Like, it's such an insane time that there's obviously things that we do differently, but still within that, it's like, if you've cultivated a minnow base and all of a sudden gas is like $300, $400, well, what the hell are you going to do? So that then combined with the bear market, it just, you know, everything just goes down, and we're in this space has to mature at some point. You can't just go from flip to flip to flip because, you know, it's not sustainable and it's absurd.
Yeah, in the last episode, Kevin and I were talking about the gas fees and how ridiculous they used to be, and people nowadays that are just getting into the space, they're like complaining about the gas fees now, and I'm like, that's nothing. Like, what are you guys talking about?
We had to send out giveaways. Like, we had to send out giveaways when gas was like $100, kind of
crazy.
Like, I'm sending out 5 giveaways, like $500 later, like, you know, so it just was insane. So now, like, I think we did a kind of little competition thing, whatever, a few weeks ago, and I was waiting for gas to come down from $10 to $7.
Nice.
I was like, I saw it at $7 the other day. I'm not paying 10. So, you know.
You know, part of that, especially like with these open editions, or, you know, it's like the NFT itself might be $10. So I feel kind of weird paying $10 for the gas and $10 for the piece itself, you know, versus back in the day, you know, a year and a half ago, it was like, well, the thing is 800. So, you know, what's $70 of gas? That feels like a much smaller percentage.
It's probably a good segue into Immutable X, which is the layer 2 solution created by 2 Australian brothers and is now like, what, $1 billion company or whatever it is because we've gone with digital cards, digital card packs. Yeah, look, it works for Parallel NFT, you know, amazing project, and, you know, is just digital cards and, you know, various add-ons and the like. And so, you know, one card, there's 10,000 copies. So in their collection, say there's 10,000 cards, well, so 10,000, 20,000 copies of each of those. And some of the smaller, lower level cards will be like $1 or something, right? Like technically ETH's version of $1. And then gas is only recently like $10 or $7 or whatever. but even 6 months ago it was like $30 or
Yeah.
whatever. You're buying a dollar card for $30, and people, I think, with Parallel, they're funded to the hilt, $50 million, whatever. So people just go, well, I'm going to buy this card and it's $31.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they can do that. But we had a big discussion internally where, is it like Cool Cats went with Polygon? So like, is it Polygon? Is it Flow? Is it Immutable? And yeah, we had like, decision docs and decision trees that we all kind of went through, and then just said, well, look, Immutable's here in Sydney, like they're just like almost next door to us. Yeah, so like, and it was kind of like, yeah, look, it's just probably the best thing to do, and it's been fantastic. There's some annoying bugs here and there that pop up, but I guess it's a new system. But on the whole, right, we initially, to holders, Bad Bunnies holders, we gave out, I think it was like, when we launched the digital card packs, like $1.8 million worth of cards.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah, I think I got like 3 packs or something.
Yeah, no gas, right?
Yeah, right.
Like we just give them to you and it costs us nothing. Like, so best decision we ever made.
That's cool. So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I go every month. I claim my holder rewards. I get my free pack. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no,
it's a pretty seamless experience. Were the digital cards, and then I guess the physical cards, were those always part of the plan?
So yeah, so look, another good segue there, just in terms of, say, yeah, starting with physical, and like I said, with digital product design, you can just spend so much money on going the wrong direction, right? And so
interesting.
Big companies get big teams together and have huge budgets, and then those teams start to build something and then find, is it really working? They don't stop and ditch what they've done because they can't justify doing it. They can't. And I weirdly yesterday had this kind of just random thought pop in my head. 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. He had a composer do the entire score for the film. So however long it takes a composer to do that, and then go back and forth with Stanley Kubrick, which would be a tough experience. Okay, so all done. So Kubrick shoots everything, then goes into editing and chooses the Blue Danube Waltz instead for the famous, cut scene from the bone to the spaceships and then the flight into space. And the composer was furious, right? And it's like, well, it's Kubrick's, he can do whatever the hell he wants. But if you suddenly start to think about, like, Kubrick's the lead there, and he says what goes. Now, if you take that into a team environment, that composer who has, say, equal kind of rights as Kubrick can then push for his composition because he did it and it's been done and they spent all this time on it, right? So then all of a sudden that's the argument, and then that composition in a team environment gets kept in. Not the best idea.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's what happens in digital product design. And we wanted to avoid that. And so the first testing of the game was a printer, scissors, and we just got the Bunny PFPs and printed out sheets of them.
Yeah.
And just cut them up and started playing. And then we'd kind of make some additions, do another printout, cut them up, play. And we went, look, there's something here. So we kind of knew that. And then we wanted the proof of concept. Look, there's a pack right here.
Nice. Yeah, I got to get a physical one of these days.
Whatever. So look, that was really good. But then it's worth pointing out that probably a couple of things there was that we thought it would be we thought the proof of concept would create credibility, but it's just in the flipping environment, people like huge section of our community just kind of went, it's Web3. What are you spending time and effort on that? Like, it was just like, this is stupid. Why are you doing that? And they left. And you can kind of say, rightly so, like, I'd say probably what we should have done back then is just spun up, like we were resistant to just spinning up something. Like,
okay.
But there's like something digital. Like we could have created with the dev knowledge we had and everything, we could have created something just quick. But you do then end up spending all your time on that. Right. So it's this weird, how do you as a small team do what's right kind of thing. Now where we are, we can say internally that it's right because we're developing the digital version and we had to make a major change. We're releasing an alpha soon, but we had to make a major change and we're kind of like, how can we be sure? Like, we get the devs to build all this stuff and then it's wrong. Well, Purpley and I just sat down with this card pack and tested the change. And we went, it worked. So then we said to the developers, like, no, we're confident, proceed with this sprint because we're confident it'll work. And then they built that and it did work. So
nice.
It's all of this, like, am I making the right decisions? You can say no in some respects. And then there's also, in a longer view, yes. So it's that kind of thing. So that's really interesting to us, that period.
Yeah.
Of, like, is it right? Who knows, you know?
That's pretty cool. I mean, the important thing is that you guys have been in the space already for a while. So you guys have built already the credibility. So I think, I think that you guys have a really cool community that is going to continue to follow you guys.
And look, I think so. The interesting thing is one of the and we can kind of, given time, can circle back to the design process for the digital cards because it was like awesome and insane and like really difficult and whatever. But the little secret project that hopefully we can announce this week is going to be a kind of coming together of everything. So I had I think a 3-hour meeting on Saturday with like, you can kind of say 2 senior members of the community, two out and out degens who are keyed into everything that is still with us, and just so knowledgeable. So we've been working with them on this little secret thing that you'll just keep an eye out for.
Got it.
And that, like, was saying, like, during the meeting, is that like can you believe it? Like, the multiple lanes of work that we've had going that kind of people can see the work we're doing, but does it affect floor price? Does it, whatever? Like, at what point does that effort like come together and then create a second buzz and the ability of just more people to kind of get in and understand what the value is. Yeah, like we're there kind of thing. So until you kind of get there, you just got to have confidence and build. And that's then interesting because you can't always have confidence. So like Purpley and I, a lot of work on our parts, and you kind of, at certain points, you don't feel completely up, you feel a bit down. Bear markets are hard. So it's interesting to get to a point where you just kind of like, with this kind of new thing, it's like an extra injection to those things, and it's going to be really interesting. So that's probably as much as I'll say on that.
Well, we haven't even brought up the cabbage or the farming or the bad honeys. So is this a combination of all of those?
Yes.
Kind of feeding
and that was the kind of cool thing is this little thing, and then we're just like going, look, it ties into that, ties into this, it ties into this, it ties into this. And, kind of within, so in a kind of this reward system that's coming, there's kind of like 3 pillars that are all, farming's one of them, and cabbage is a big part of it, and whatever. So I would, I don't know, hopefully predict that those people that bought farms just in that initial release, which is really small because economy wise, so like me being me, I'm like, let's just sell as many as we can, and our lead dev in the IMX immutable space was like, look, as soon as it hits this number, we're turning it off, because like you're crazy otherwise, like, because you'll have no idea how much cabbage is being made, what your economy is going to look like, or whatever. So those that bought farms, that's like, we're a small team, so we're not that fast really. So those people that bought farms, like, it's like almost 2 months ago now. I think those people, like, when we make this announcement, are going to go, hey, I'm in the driver's seat.
Oh, shoot, I got to get one now.
I'm set. So we'll likely, because we kind of have better idea of what's happening now with the economy, we'll likely open up the farms mint briefly
good.
when farming goes live. So I think farming is still probably maybe 2 weeks off. It works. We've got a little bit more little tweaks to do, and then a little bit more testing. But I think when farms launches, we'll probably open up the minting for a little bit in a controlled manner. And then, but there's also after that, because the plan was to do, so in that mint, there were rare ranked farms, epic and legendary. That was to kind of give people the benefit of being early. So later, once everything is kind of really under control, we'll do a larger farms mint for common rank farms. And that will, potentially be like a lot more farms kind of thing, so people can kind of get into this and take advantage. So all of that. And then, so then the other little thing within that too is spinning up Battle Pass and XP.
Right.
That's the focus. The standard dev immutable focus at the moment is getting the Battle Pass and XP up. So, you get your packs, you open them, you'll get XP. Build a deck, you'll get XP. Fuse a card, you'll get XP. And that'll all be moving towards this secret thing that's coming out.
All right. Well, I'm ready to get my farm when the minting opens up again. So you mentioned, you still have confidence even in this bear market. I'm curious, I can look on OpenSea and see that there's a lot of ETH that's been transacted. Of course, a portion of that goes your way. If this is now your full-time focus, how do you kind of balance that? Hey, the floor is pretty low right now comparatively, right, to what it was. Like, is there a question about how long you can sustain this project until it picks back up?
So it really is, yeah. So it is. It's kind of unlike other, not like, rug is a strong word, because like in a bear market, if your project goes down, it's tough. Like, what are you going to do? Kind of thing. So, but we, which, look, this is the two degens that have kind of helping us with this secret thing. They kind of go, look, you guys have ethics and you're credible, like, and it is, because we spent the money, like, we're spending the money you guys gave us. Like,
that's good.
We haven't enriched ourselves at all. It's all been people invested in us, and we're going to build these things. So everything you see there that's been built on the website, you have to have confidence that, okay, we have this, and this, right? And they all work together. But knowing that we need, absent a token, right? Which will come, but it's another whole thing. And we kind of got to a point with carrots where it's just, it has to be something later, because we'll get sidetracked and whatever. So you build these things and you have confidence that they will all kind of come together, and then you do need to then have a value prop within this space that people can go, okay, I get it. if I expend this ETH or time, I'm going to get this for it. And we understand that. So that's kind of what we've been working on. And that's the kind of confidence then to kind of go, yeah, okay, floor price is what it is at the moment. But it will, we believe it will move once all the pieces come together, and those pieces aren't all together. So yeah, so until that happens, that's you push ahead, you do good work, and you get the word out, and then hope people get what you're talking about.
Yeah, I love it. And I saw a few tweets today about the percentage of holders or the percentage of items that are for sale. 0.7 is only like 300 something people are trying to sell out of 5,500. So I think that says a lot about the conviction of your holders.
Yeah, the community is pretty strong.
It's just and thanks to I can't remember the name. Maybe more coffee, I will. But tweeted that, like, I swear 2 days ago it was 2%.
Yeah,
because it was 1% for earlier, and then that went up to 2% listed. So somewhere, between that 2% and suddenly 0.7. Yeah, and I don't know, like we're giving hints here and there, so I don't know, maybe people are like delisting.
Yeah.
There has to have been delisting happening to
right,
because otherwise that it doesn't go from 2% to 0.7%. Without delisting. So it's interesting. So yeah.
Nice. So you're working on Bad Honeys, which is another PFP project, right? What lessons did you learn from the first round that you're going to take with you into this second round?
Look, so the idea for this was as a rewards system, in that there'll be a whitelist period for bunny holders, and it'll be a free mint. So
perfect.
If you own a bunny, you'll be able to jump into Discord, get on the whitelist, have a period where you can mint a bunch yourself for free, and it's just a way to kind of say, hey, look, we obviously want to bring in that other side of the Bad Bunnies world, the Bad Honeys, and the great way to do it is to reward current holders, make it free mint, bring in some other people, and just it's just, this is the thing, it's fun, right? Like it's hard work. Pooply is driving hard to get all these traits and stuff done, but it's kind of hard to beat in terms of. It's the same type of thing. Like I love back pre-launch Bad Bunnies. I guess it's brothers. Like Pooply and I, most of it actually back and forth on the phone. Like he'll text me a new trait, and it'll either be, oh my god, that's awesome, or this, how am I going to say that it needs to change, and how But, brothers can talk pretty kind of. There was a few moments here and there where I'm sure, mate, what the like. But it's so fun just getting an alert and just going, oh mate, that's so cool, and so with whatever learnings, you'll have to have Pooply on another time. Whatever learnings, he's just churning out Bad Honeys, and I don't have to say anything. Like I just get and go, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have him on the show to see how the creative part of it comes out of him.
Do it, and he'll be up for it. It's just let me know, and I'll give him a nudge and whatever. But yeah, it is. Like I don't know how he does it. Like it's magic to me. Like because I shifted from drawing to design like a while ago, and so I hadn't put pen to paper like when I started doing traits for Bad Bunnies in those early stages. Like I hadn't drawn for like 10, 15 years or something. Like I stopped when I was a kid.
Wow.
But Pooply, like our dad was an amazing artist, unbelievable. So like when Pooply was a little kid, our dad was making him hold his hand and then draw that hand.
Wow.
And then hold that hand and draw that hand. So Pooply, I swear, would have been like 10. And my dad saying, or our dad saying, hands are impossible.
Yes,
the hardest thing to draw. So, like whatever. And so, so there's a magic in there of learned technique and experience, which, would be amazing to discuss with Pooply.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the hands. Like that, hands are to this day for me one of the hardest things to draw. I don't know why.
So get him on and ask some tips, which I'm sure he'll give you. Like,
yeah. Well, that conversation sounds similar to like when Miguel was drawing the Rebel Ants. He was texting me things all day, every day, and I was like,
great.
all right, that's cool. I said, well, what about the background there? Or he's like a tattoo. Like, I love that. Right. So definitely the same vibe there. Before I forget, let me drop the secret code for our proof of attendance. So head over to rebelants.io/proof. If you are listening or watching, drop in the code BUNNY, and the first 3 will get a free Rebel Ant airdrop to them. Miguel hasn't yawned yet, so we're still up to 3. So good job, Miguel. So the secret code for this episode is BUNNY. Head over to rebelants.io/proof, and hopefully you can earn a free Rebel Ant. Ken, question for you. With working with your brother, what is that relationship like? Did you guys do things before?
So so like absolutely. So we were working on a web comic, not a web comic, so we were going to take a motion comic into a standalone app, and kind of avoid some of so there's a few kind of motion comics that are in app form that like downloadable app and kind of standalone native. And we were going to kind of avoid some of the kind of dumb choices some of those projects had made. And we're, we weren't far off producing it. Like amazing art already. So, at some stage when we have time, there's a motion comic from Pooply and Can Opener called The President of the United States. And it's a post-apocalyptic, story of this Sarah Palin-esque
great
vice president who everyone else gets wiped out and, she's left the reins kind of thing.
Oh. Great, you picked the best one.
So there's so we're always kind of do stuff. So we've got a good back and forth like that. And look, just to in a minute, I'll also kind of just say that. So B-Dub and I, friends since like kindergarten, randomly. So I don't think that we wouldn't have gone how we went. Randomly, on a Saturday, our 2 wives get us and our families together to go to some bike park near here. And we're talking and I kind of go, I've been getting into crypto, like, did this thing and we kind of got this and it's, I made quite a bit and like, it's really good. And I said, Pooply and I are working on this thing. And he was like, well, and then just went blah, 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 blah. Like, if you do this, then, you really should do this, 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 and this. And then, it quickly became a discussion of, okay, come on over.
Yeah.
Let's but I hadn't thought to reach out to him prior to that. So just another little moment in time where kids are playing, wives are talking. Hey, man, we should talk. Next day, talk. And, little bit of history kind of thing.
It sounds like the skill set amongst each of you really came together here, right? Your background in design, drawing, and then B-Dub's input on that. It sounds like a recipe for success.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's just it was the funniest thing at the time because even just even like, I just don't know how we would have got there if it wasn't the three of us kind of thing. So it's like, it's really interesting and how it all just kind of randomly works out, and then put within that this incredible time constraint that kind of, we were under to kind of get it up, because we announced it. We announced September 15. Like, you announce it, you got to hit it. You have to hit it.
Yeah.
You cannot delay it. And even just that, there was, an interesting moment the day before, like Beat Up saying we're not going to get there. Wow. I was saying we cannot have an announcement that says it's delayed.
Right.
Cannot do it. It's going ahead. We just have to hope that nothing goes wrong. I think so. Yeah, like super interesting moments like that, So like it's kind of like walking up the stairs, thinking about bunnies, standing on the veranda, calling Pooply, suggesting it, seeing Beat Up at the park, that moment, and then the being woken at midnight. Well, no, I think it was 2 a.m. or something. Okay, we're about to sell out. It's like, okay, cool. Can you save me Yakuza steak toast ahead for me, please?
So what does the family think about the project now?
Yeah, look, at the time, like, my wife was kind of like, okay, great, like, this is awesome. But look, the reality is it can all be really like, we talk now and look back and it's like really happy and fun and whatever, but the bear market has not been easy. It's
yeah.
And no one's going to assume it is, but unless I also kind of raise some serious stuff in there and some serious questioning of like the amount of effort. So, we put together this plan to take PFPs into game cards and functional. It's not like, parallel is, hey, we have a bunch of NFT cards.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Great. Good. But for us, it's like, okay, so what it's like, and that's not, it's just one of those things, is we wanted to do a PFP project and gamified it. And then it's like, well, how's that going to work? And the strategy sessions, the work to figure out what to do, then the commitment to say, okay, well, the pipeline then is this, and this. And we're going to build this first, then this, and then this, and then this. And being in a bear market is what happens is you kind of release a thing and there's only so many eyes on it. There's only so much motivation for community and so on to go, because heaps of people have left because of being down, like because of being wrecked. It's there's a whole lot of fun here, but there's also, kind of some key community members just like, I'm just not in Web3 anymore because I can't take it. Like, is, absolutely understandable. And so, so like we're it's been a like super tough road. Like, and I suppose it's also down to like Pooply and my fortitude that we didn't throw in the towel, because there's probably like 112 points in time where we could have just gone, oh mate, this is too hard. Like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. That's it. It's over. So within that, to answer your question, is there is some resistance on this end because of the weirdness of the space, or our those connected to us in our lives saying, okay, so where are you going with this, and where do you see an uptick in success? And it's hard to explain. Well, FTX kind of screwed everyone over, and now SVB has kind of created a scenario by which whatever. And it's this thing of like, okay, so when, like that age-old crypto NFT question, when?
Yeah.
So there is that kind of thing, and it's kind of really good timing with what we'll release hopefully this week, and talking to these community members and spinning up this little secret project quickly. It reminds me of the beginning. Like, it reminds me of that early Wild West phase where you're just like, shit's crazy. Sorry, I'm not sure if swearing.
Yeah, go for it.
No, you're good. You're good.
The three of us were going, this moment we have to take advantage of, because it's going to be a key moment in NFT history. So it'll make more sense as the week goes on. But it is one of those things where, like, if this isn't a key moment, I don't know what the hell is.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to, we can probably have another chat in a few weeks or a month or something.
Definitely.
Where we kind of go, look, that moment was a key moment, and it's for these reasons, and so on. So really interesting.
Real quick, what do you think about AI art?
So, okay, interesting, right? So, like, you hear it and you go, okay, what? Like, because, like, what's this going to do? Right? And so I think it's a pretty interesting use case to say that it has a place, but, like, I reckon, like, I want a logo that shows this. I want some concept image that shows this, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just submitted a 40-page or maybe 50-page pitch deck to Immutable X's $500 million development fund for projects on their platform. And if so, like, if we can get in with them, you get like IMX token grants. We wouldn't need to create our own token. We essentially, if you played the Bad Bunnies TCG, you would be awarded IMX tokens, which are doing really well, and stuff like that, right? I just wanted a page to kind of go, hey, like, we could have top-down dungeon games like Bad Bunnies in Diablo 3 or Diablo 4 or whatever, right? And so, you feed in, because Pooply's too busy. He's got Bad Honeys to do. You feed in, okay, here's pictures of the Bad Bunnies, right? Like, here they are. It's all pretty clear. Diablo 3 is a known bloody game. Show me something. Okay, it showed me something. But in the iterations, I couldn't get it to do what I needed, like, flat out. So that page is not in the pitch deck, because it just, I think it took the idea of Diablo 3 and made kind of demon characters, because I think it saw the bunny ears and went horns. And then when I tried to tell it bunnies, it just made rabbit faces. Like a furry rabbit head. And I was like, no. So it's interesting for, I think, some things, but I think projects, be it this in NFT land or big, whatever, in any other kind of creative environment, I think, it's not there yet. And I just wonder that, like, imagine me saying to AI, here's Bad Bunnies, give me Bad Honeys, right? You're not going to get what Pooply has drawn. Yeah. Right. And then, it's just like, it's just that kind of thing. If you don't get that, then like, what's the value kind of thing? So I think it's going to be a piece in the puzzle for a lot of things. And I think if you kind of went, give me a 10,000 collection of varied traits in this space and whatever, I'm sure it could do it. But, then what? Like, kind of thing. Like, then when because our design phase for the digital cards was tough. Like, taking the PFPs into full body poses and whatever. Like, you want to talk about tough discussions between Pooply and I. Like, he sends something through and I kind of go, And a lot of the first one you did was better than these other 15 iterations you've done. And what artist wants to hear that? Right. The first Rebel you did is better than these hours and hours of work that you've done, kind of thing. So, and if you talk about artistic progression, and the ease now of Bad Honeys, I don't know. I'm almost not involved. Pooply is just, so we go from Bad Bunnies, hey, no, line weight needs to be thicker. That's not working. This is not working. That's good. We need more of that. To turning those into full bodies being really quite difficult. To really now the only thing was, you're not even going to be able to perceive it at the moment. But the first Bad Honeys, even though it's going to be a PFP, they need to be digital cards after, is the first ones, they just had no presence in the card. Like if you dropped them into a card, our digital cards, it kind of looked like a stick figure in there. It was like this tiny thing that just didn't have presence. So beyond getting that presence, it's now, he just runs with it. So can an AI do that? I don't think so at this stage. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw the body of the bunny, I said, "Oh, I didn't think about that. Like, I didn't think it was that." So that was interesting to see. But yeah, it is very detailed, and the amount of variety and the traits across all of them, and the toaster heads and the pirates and the Yakuza one. Like, it's great. It's a great ecosystem to kind of dive into.
And that's kind of, you can cut me off whenever you need to finish, but that's part of like this 3-hour meeting on Saturday with these two high level community members. Like that's they're still with us. It's easy. It would be easy for like a full on trader, full on like degen to kind of go, your floor price is low, so therefore I'm out.
Right.
For those guys, like a bit of alpha, for those guys, they're like, no, we respect your integrity, your ethics, your art, the way you do things, the way you carry on. That's why we're still with you. And also to hear them say just so clearly, we just so appreciate you guys for what you do. You go, it's the opposite here. I'm sitting here and you guys are helping us with this next phase. The appreciation is all from here, but then to hear it back the other way, you kind of go, it's really interesting. But, part of that is, they're excited about what's possible in the brand. And because we made that decision early on to go, well, it's traits. These NFTs have traits. So we're going to use those traits in the game, like Uno for matching and whatever, is you're then not tied into this very like specific brand. And so, the kind of discussion is just, and this is creatively too, you have an idea when it just has lots of connecting ideas. You go expansion, like, we did the little mini expansion for the trading cards in the our first booster packs, Biohazard versus Yakuza. The story is there's a reactor in Neo Toastio, and it goes boom, and the biohazards go in to tamp it all down and come out as zombies, and the local Yakuza bunnies come out in the street to fight them off. And so there's a little expansion. Well, we can do pirates, space pirates, gangsters, anything. Like, we can just kind of go, because zombies, like full on zombie expansion. And then that leads to things too. Like, if we can get to this kind of point where everything comes together, brand deals, like how cool would it be to release, Star Wars bunny cards, and stuff like how Fortnite does. So our brand allows that, and not all brands do. So that's interesting to these people that we've been talking to, and it's interesting to us. So it's really interesting.
I think that's the next phase. I think that's the next phase, is just the branding. I think a lot of brands are going to get into the NFT space for sure. Yeah. And there are a bunch of providers that are in this space that are producing similar to, what's also interesting, good choice with Immutable for us too, is on the tickets for us to do is implementation of their Immutable wallet, which also is another thing that these
community members have said to us is that you jump on Bad Bunny's website and you might not be into crypto. You wouldn't necessarily know. Like, if you wanted to get into it, you wouldn't need to know anything about crypto or whatever, and that's important for a brand.
Right.
And so Immutable, in great foresight, have created the Immutable wallet, which just from an email address creates a crypto wallet in the background, but you wouldn't even know that it's a crypto wallet. Like, it's you've just bought a card pack. That's all you know, and you've done it with an email address. So that's really important. There's a bunch of other providers that are doing that for brands at the moment, where they've created kind of like a forward-facing token wallet scenarios that brands can plug into and stuff like that. So yes, it's interesting time, because it does have to be that thing where if this space doesn't go to the masses, it's just going to remain Flip Central, which is just unsustainable and no good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what Reddit was doing, right? That's how they were able to get so many millions of wallets, was just because people didn't even know it was happening on the back end, but now they have NFTs. So do you think, around this idea of PFPs, do you think PFPs should be sunsetting, and like the next evolution of NFTs should be coming around?
Look, so one of the cool things, which I think is, I don't know, overlooked in a sense with us, is like, if you take two examples, Deadfellas, because it's difficult to touch your PFPs, right? They're a store of value to people that bought them, so you can't really change them. And in gaming, that makes it difficult, right? So if you look at Parallel NFT, there's no stats on the cards, because they need to change for balancing and so on. So, we'll have some tweaking to do, because ours does have numbers. So, you can say that we'll be in tight positions here and there in balancing when we have to work out that stuff. But it's not the end of the world. But Deadfellas, say, okay, well, our way forward is to create dead friends, and so the game will be their game coming out. Whatever will be Dead Friends, and I'm sure they'll tie in Deadfellas as well. But okay, that's their approach. And Cool Cats went with the eggs and Cool Pets and whatever, because it allows you to keep that separate. It was tough design-wise for us to find, like, how do you take the PFP and have it be used in the game as that? And so being able to create those full-bodied versions of the PFPs, that was difficult design-wise, and we've done it. And also, because we've got that, those PFPs will be used in multiple ways. So you'll be able to take that PFP. So you go, I have a favorite PFP.
Right.
I'm going to make a boss out of that PFP. So depending on the tier, it'll, like, if I choose a tier 1 bunny, and say I'm new to this space, floor price has gone up, but I want to pick up a bunny, and it is 0.3 or something, and I'm new to this space, and go, look, I'm going to do it. So you pick up a tier 1 bunny. Well, you'll be able to go into an area where you go create a boss. Okay, what PFP are you going to use? Okay, I'm going to use that PFP. And then boom, there's the full body PFP of bunny of that PFP. Then there'll be a whole progression using XP and playing to take that bunny to boss level. You'll get skins that will, won't affect the traits, but will up the look. And then eventually that PFP will be a boss card in the game that you can, use as your hero.
Right.
So there's like lots of things like that. And that all kind of comes from this, well, we don't want to disassociate PFP from the game. We want it to be integral. And, now that with farming, you can get a farm, but you've got to use PFPs as farmers.
Yeah.
There's a plus button, you tap, you got to add at least one PFP to be able to farm. And so, Pooply now doing the bad honeys, he's drawing them full body because they'll go on cards.
Yeah.
But all we have to do is crop them into PFP
Right.
size to then do a free mint, which allows people to then express identity and the like and community with those PFPs. But then it's also a card in the game and so on. And then just to kind of extend beyond that, Splinterlands as a fairly indie studio. I think they've got probably 2 million in funding from some various investors.
Yeah.
And they're doing pretty well. And which we would aspire to their little. They got a good little play to earn model. They went out with PFP mint to create bosses. And they're kind of pretty insane looking. Like they're some pretty insane PFPs as things go. But they definitely saw, well, look, we started as a card game, but there is a role for PFP identity community. So let's do it. So we've made it work. We'll continue to make it work. And part of our strategy is to come out with ongoing PFP releases that then have utility in the game. And, who knows, there also might be the Choppers gang is, really just fast and furious. Like it's the fun. The Choppers gang, because they run the chop shops in the Bad Bunnies world. It's all fast and furious. It's all cars and stealing and whatever. So that idea of family kind of thing. So there definitely may be some family type breeding between bad bunnies and bad honeys. Create a family and little PFP kids.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
Bunny breeding. Like, so
that'll be cool.
Get a bad honey and a bad bunny. And does the combination of that mint you one little baby bunny or 5? Like,
I want a whole litter. Give me a litter.
Get a litter. Hey man, I got a litter, and whatever. So all of that's possible as well, but one step at a time.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue to follow along, and this is not financial advice, but since holding my bunny, I've gotten the card equal to my PFP, right? If you own the PFP, you get the card. So I've got that
in diamond frame, which takes burning 24 of the same card. Like if you get a non-PFP, you would need to get a card from a digital card pack and get 24 copies of it and burn them all at an ETH and cabbage cost to get a diamond frame. So if you own the PFP, you get that card, but also in the diamond frame. So anyway, continue.
I feel like I've been rewarded or continued to be engaged with the progress that you guys have done over the past year and a half that I've been a holder. So it's been really fun to follow along, and I guess for that reason it probably makes sense for me to pick up another one at this point, just with everything else that's coming out. So I might have to get another one.
And hopefully a farm if we come to farming again, just being able to put that bunny to work as a farmer, because there's all kind of yield maximizers. So if you put in 3 tier 8 toaster heads as your farmers, the yield multiplier is higher than 3 tier 1 bunnies. There's a giant spreadsheet for all of this stuff. But being able to like pick up a farm, add your favorite little PFP bunnies to that as farmers. Pop in every couple of days to water your farm. Pesticide. Get a scarecrow card from the Halloween pack and put a scarecrow up to scare away crows. Do all that stuff. Earn cabbage, and then spend that cabbage in this new secret kind of stuff we're going to release soon. Is there, there's cool stuff in there. So we're happy about it, and we think everyone else will be if they dive in.
Perfect. So before we close down, I just have to ask: were you a Diablo 2 fan? Is that where these Diablo references come from?
So we so also shout out to Core NFT, our brother Joseph, the Core NFT. He's an artist in Berlin who uses sugar to make sculptures. Incredible process he has.
Interesting.
He released the Core NFT project, which is these different colored gems and so on, and you can combine those gems to hand them in and burn them and receive real world art of those gems.
Wow.
With light boxes, and I've got one downstairs. They're super cool. Myself, Jose, and Poopley. Joseph lives in Berlin, so we would be in Diablo 3, spamming the hell out of the buttons and yelling at each other as we keep up the brotherly connection.
There you go.
That's us there, kind of thing. And I've got too much RSI now. It's really just Poopley and Joseph get together for the Diablo now. I just can't take it.
Yeah, I spent so many hours playing Diablo 2, and I was so psyched for Diablo 3, but I don't know, it just didn't give me the same vibe. So I didn't. I also wasn't at a place in my life where I could just devote 15 hours straight to playing video games. Yeah. But in my college days, my roommate will tell you he'd wake up in the middle of the night. I had a blanket over my head and the monitor to try and keep the light down.
That's
just
awesome.
playing D2. So I appreciate the Diablo references on your end. So.
Yeah. So we'd love a top-down, bunny, because how cool would it be? Like, you have bunnies on the board, and maybe you pick up traits.
Yeah.
You pick up 3 cowboy hats, and then all of a sudden you're a crew, so you get plus this, and you go and bash and
hell yeah,
whatever. It would be awesome. And look, last thing to say too is that discussion with these community members on Saturday, working out the kind of strategy ahead. The saying everything needs to be broad, and I was saying, look, we want to go there. We want a kids snap game. My daughter wants to play Bad Bunnies, the physical card game, all the time. And unfortunately, I have to kind of put her off because I'm like, I can't look at them in my downtime.
You need a break from the bunnies.
As much as she wants to, but whenever we play a game of Bad Bunnies, we start with snap. So just stack, and we go boom, boom, and she goes snap, and I'm like, that's not because she's a 6-year-old. I'm like, she's made a mistake, and she's like, no, they're both Yakuza Rage faces. But, and she always wins. I've never won.
Of course.
Probably need glasses or something.
That's a good dad.
But yeah, little mobile games, where you earn a little bit of cabbage for playing, and it's just snap and whatever. The sky's the limit, really. We're just one step at a time.
Yeah, amazing. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I know we went 50% over. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll get you guys back on soon once you do your big secret reveal and things calm down for you. We'd love to kind of keep the convo going, meet some of the rest of the team. But thank you again, and thank you to our watchers who have continued to stay with us for the last 90 minutes. Everyone, have a great night. Cam, thank you again, and Miguel, you have a good night as well.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Have a good night, everybody, too. And Ken, thank you so much for being on the show. Definitely, we want to chat again. We had a lot of stuff to talk about, and I feel like there's still more to talk about.
Get Poopley on.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
All right.
Okay, guys, thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Okay, see ya.